Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Dreamer's Edge podcast.
Hi, I'm Chasm, an English editor with Deluxe Digital.
I'm Bill. I'm a computer engineer and TV watcher.
And I'm Dimitri, movie critic for AskMen.com and webmaster of TheDreamersEdge.com. One of the things I get asked once in a while on TheDreamersEdge.com is what television shows I watch, what I'd recommend, and whatnot, because The Dreamer's Edge hasn't really addressed television until now. And one of the things you should know is that I watch television like most people watch sports. That means I look at the networks as different teams, I look at the ratings as the scoreboard, and I look at the television shows as the players, and I try to see who wins the game at the end of the year, the season.
What's an injury?
That's when Fox cancels you.
That's true, because sometimes you can come back from that.
So, this week we have something special planned for you. Every day of the week we'll be looking at the television grid, so tune in tomorrow and the day after and the day after that, because, we like to record stuff. But before we start, we're going to do something I like to call show and tell. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but we're going to recommend television shows that we love and that are available on DVD. Well, Bill, why don't you get us started?
Yeah, that way, if you don't have enough with the fall season, you can also watch TV with old seasons.
Well, look at the programming. You'll get a chance to watch your DVDs.
I'm going to start out with one of the series that I've probably watched the most often. I don't often rewatch things, but I'm recommending Firefly by director Joss Whedon.
It's executive producer Joss Whedon.
Oh, right, sorry. For a series, it's executive producer.
Yeah.
It's, in my opinion, his best work. It has all the best bits of a Joss Whedon series, so good writing, funny, a wonderful ensemble cast.
Yeah, I love Nathan Fillion and Adam Baldwin in that show.
Yeah, they are so funny. And it's essentially a Western in the future. It's sort of the American Revolution, and the main character is on the losing side, so what would be the South?
I think it's more Civil War than American Revolution.
Civil War.
You can tell our American history is very, very strong.
Yes. So that's the premise, and unfortunately it only lasted for one season.
Not even.
Not even.
It's like half a season.
Well,
Yeah.
We have the full season on DVD, so...
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
but it's a short one. It's like 13 episodes or something?
yeah, that's all.
true.
13
That's true.
episodes.
But it's 13 wonderful episodes,
Yeah.
and you can probably get it for not too expensive because you have fewer episodes. So definitely worth a buy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it followed up with the movie Serenity as well. That's
Yeah,
a
that's great.
great concluding chapter to the entire series, so you will get that sense of closure.
Yes.
Alright, so that leads us to the actual grid. We're going to start with today. What day are we today? Monday.
Mondays.
We could wait till Tuesday. Wednesday's on my mind. Anyway. I can't sing for more than 8 seconds, otherwise I have to pay copyright.
Okay, excellent. Mondays, 8 o'clock, ABC. This is from 8 to 10, actually. We have the return of Dancing with the Stars.
That's going to be interesting, mostly because this year they're going to be competing from Fox with So You Think You Can Dance, and I think we're finally going to see the death of dancing with
Thank
the stars.
I know. Yeah, So You Think You Can Dance is a far superior show.
I mean, if I'm going to watch people dancing, I want to watch competent people dancing.
Exactly.
You don't have an amateur night to singing competition. Why should you have an amateur night dancing competition?
That's true. That's a great way of putting it.
But moving along with ABC, they wrap up their night from 10 to 11 with Castle, which is a show I actually really enjoy, starring Nathan Fillion, who P.O. mentioned from Firefly. I really like him.
I was actually surprised by this show in its first season. At the very beginning, I watched the ads for it, and the premise was just so god-awful that I didn't watch it at first. And then Dimitri told me that it was good, so I figured, well, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I've just fallen in love with it. I mean, honestly, Nathan Fillion can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned.
That's true.
Even in the bad TV shows he's been in, like, what was that one where he was driving around, driven? Even there, I liked him. You know, I mean, the show was god-awful, but I liked him.
I've even watched several episodes of Desperate Housewives because he was there.
Yeah,
that was it.
That's true. He was good in that, too. I just love the guy.
Yeah.
One distinction I want to make about Castle, though, is that unlike the shows that we've mentioned, Castle is actually well written. Yes, it's a tired premise. The premise is another gimmick cop show, which you'll see a lot of on the course of the week. The thing is, the police drama has been done to death with CSI and all Jerry Bruckheimer productions and
Law and Order.
And Law and Order, of course. And so now they've wheeled out the gimmick cops. He's a writer who solves crimes, but not like a Murder, She Wrote. It's a different dynamic. I love the relationship with his daughter. It's so cute. And it's one of the most tightly written pilot I had seen in a long time, which is why I ended up recommending it to you, because the pilot was so tight in its writing. So yeah, it did well last year at 10 o'clock, even though it came out like really late in the game and actually had to compete during sweep. So hopefully it'll have a good sophomore year.
Exactly. Moving on to CBS, however. Basically, you got a lineup of comedy. At 8, you've got How I Met Your Mother. And at 8:30, you got a new show called Accidentally on Purpose.
Which is time for a brand new game this week. Here's the thing. Kezim and I have already read up what those shows are about, the new shows this season, but Peo hasn't. And every time there's a new show, we're going to ask Peo to guess what the show is just by the title.
Okay, I'm guessing that this is about a woman who wants to hang on to her boyfriend and gets pregnant.
You're really, really close!
That is pretty bad.
It's about a woman played by Jenna Elfman getting pregnant, and she moves in with the father of the baby, who's kind of irresponsible.
Yeah, she was,
Limited shelf life for a sitcom if there ever was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Jenna Elfman's going to be pregnant for 5 seasons until they reach syndication. Yeah, and How I Met Your Mother, I love it.
It's gotten better.
Yeah, that show's gaining a lot of momentum.
First 2 seasons, I was not impressed. But yeah, it's definitely improved.
So have they met his mother yet? If they've been going on for 5 seasons, he must be running out of girlfriends, no?
You see, no.
No, they kind of dodge the issue really cleverly every time.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Funny.
Yeah.
And what's kind of funny is that they filmed the children's scenes clearly all in a row long before, because it's the same shot of the children. They haven't grown up at all in 5 seasons.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the actors is on the Disney Channel show and he's grown taller since then. But what's funny is that they grow increasingly bored every time they show the picture of them.
But if they filmed all the children's scenes, then they must have a limited number of seasons to go.
No, I mean...
Because at some point you run out of children's shots.
Yeah, but it must be really hard to run out of that, because you can always recycle them if they're spread apart long
Exactly, because no one's going to remember those little tidbits.
Until reruns.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But the children's shots don't have anything to do with the rest of the...
It's because it's the narration that's over it, right? Because they're just staring boredly and
yeah.
they can change the
Because
voiceover.
their father is telling them the story of How I Met Your Mother. If you didn't get that from the title.
I think I could have guessed that one too.
Yeah, I think you could. CBS again. At 9, they have 2.5 Men, an absurdly popular show.
On its 7th season, you know, the premise of the young father moving in with his playboy brother. It's like the kid is like almost of adult age. He's big enough to eat Charlie Sheen at this point.
He's just hoping Charlie Sheen dies to
Exactly.
move in for him.
That's exactly it. At 9:30, they have The Big Bang Theory, which is on to season 3.
I've watched a few episodes and I've just found it slightly offensive. It's just too nerdy. At some point, it's like, come on.
Yeah, but at the same time, they nail it. The nerd point they bring up are really things that people do, and they are obnoxious things that people do.
Yeah, but they put it on such a stereotypical look. It's really the appearance and how they dress these guys up. I mean, I don't mind if they get the behavior right, but then don't put it on a facade of extreme nerdiness as well, you know? I mean, because people who actually behave like this don't necessarily look like that.
Right.
You know, and there's more to nerds, present company included, right? I mean, that's the thing. It's just too stereotypical, too much to the extreme. They don't show any redeeming nerd aspects, if you will.
That's true. They
Which is what annoys me.
Their behavior is never moderated in
No.
any sense, you know? I mean, other than the contrast of Penny from across the hallway there, who always kind of comes in and either raises her eyebrow or kind of, well, I guess it was supposed to be some sort of dynamic where they were supposed to play off each other. but it's not working.
Having said that, it's really popular amongst nerds.
Oh, yes.
It's terribly popular.
Go figure.
Yeah, some nerds has thicker skins than you do.
Well, we've got NBC with Heroes.
Well,
Yeah, you forgot 10 o'clock.
Oh my gosh! Rounding out their comedy lineup with CSI Miami.
It's quite comic how long this series lasts. I mean,
Well, but no, the women love it because they love the David Caruso.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
God, I
but
hate him.
Caruso-
He has a single move. It's that move where he takes off his sunglasses and stares into the little kid's eyes and says something deep.
It's gonna be a hot day in Miami. Takes off his glasses and the music.
I'm sick of CSIs in general by now, but CSI Miami, I think, is the one that just killed it for me.
Yeah.
But I think it's the one that's gonna survive this year more than the others.
Yeah,
Oh,
then the
that's so
original.
awful.
I think the original's on its last legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, really popular amongst mothers, like married women.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, probably people who also recognize him from NYPD Blue.
He's a big sex symbol, and I mean, all he does is be sexy and say sexy, cool lines that are poorly
That's true.
written, but still, that's what he
All he does is be sexy and care about kids. He's sexy and he's better than your father.
There you go.
Oh.
Moving on.
Continue with Monday nights. We've got Heroes and NBC from 8 to 9.
Heroes has been doing disastrously in terms of ratings in the last couple of seasons. Part of it was the writer's strike. Part of it is that Tim Crane can't really pace or write a story that well.
Mm-hmm.
And then he asked for help from Jeff Loeb, who can't pace or write a story that well. So they brought in Brian Fuller at the end of the last season, and he's left again. And he
Again?
Yeah,
He left once
he was
and then they
there in
brought
the
him
first season, which was terrific,
Okay.
and then he left, and the show got
So
really bad.
He couldn't deal with something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something going on in the writer's staff of Heroes where good writers are not encouraged to stay. And you can see that NBC has just about no confidence in the show, because what they're doing is that Heroes is going to run not even a full season. It's going to run in the fall and then get replaced right around February Sweeps, which is the big Sweeps season for networks, with Chuck. Which essentially means that they're fully expecting Heroes to get cancelled sometime during the fall. So
And Chuck just needs some time to get some episodes
Yeah, exactly.
together.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I think it's not a bad idea to have Chuck in this space, because Chuck has been doing
It's so sorry.
it's very so-so in terms of ratings, and having people miss it might actually get people to watch it. It's doing well enough that people will remember it, but not well enough that it's gaining the momentum it needs, and maybe a break will do it.
Yet another new show from 9 to 10 called Trauma.
So, Bill, what is Trauma about?
Okay, well, I would guess a hospital show, an ER type thing, but that seems too obvious. The other possibility would be psychological trauma of some sort, so...
And which are you going with?
I'll go with the obvious. I'll go with ER.
Very close. It's a paramedics show. I'm not giving you any props for that, because that one was freaking obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, the race to replace ER has started.
But it's actually more like, what was it? There was Third Watch for a while.
Yeah, third one.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
which-
exactly like
which-
third
Yeah,
one.
for a short
Yeah.
period. So now they've got the first responders on the scene. I guess you get to see it, whatever happened, in all its glory before anyone's had a chance to kind of staunch the blood.
I think people are going to be, because they already have Private Practice and that show where everybody whines their
Grey's
Grey's
Anatomy.
Anatomy. I don't
Is
think
that on the same network?
No, it's not. But it's just that people already have plenty of medical shows to
Ouch.
replace ER anyway. So
Yeah. And another newbie from 10 to 11 on NBC. We will now have the Jay Leno show.
Okay, we're not going to play that game with the Jay Leno
I'm
show.
gonna guess that's Conan O'Brien. No?
No, that's at 11:30. Okay, what's special about the Jay Leno show? It's going to be Monday to Friday at 10 on NBC, and it's a comedy sketch show.
Horrible
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, this is essentially NBC going like, we don't want the 10 o'clock slot.
Yeah.
We don't care that much about it. And we want Jay Leno to start early retirement.
We don't like Jay, so we're gonna get people to be sick of him really quick.
Yeah, no, just for those of you who might not get what we're saying here, is because think about it. Like, if you have a drama where you have continuity and you're invested in, and you need to know what happens in the next episode, or you have a comedy show where you can catch the next comedy show tomorrow anyway, which are you going to pick every time?
comedy.
Well, yeah, but I would follow your instincts since Big Bang Theory's doing well.
Alrighty. Moving on to Fox, which starts off 8 o'clock to 9 with House with season 6.
I'm afraid it might be the last year of House.
Really?
Yeah, I think they've done a lot of really crazy twists and turns in the last season.
And where do they go?
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
It's the sort of thing where audiences are willing to keep up with it during the season because they want to know what's going to happen next. But you give them a break from the summer, and when they reestablish what their TV habits are going to be this year, they go like, last year of House was kind of like, what the hell? So maybe I'll start watching something else instead,
Yeah.
Like How I Met My Mother. Or Your Mother.
Yes, because How I Met My Mother, I think all of us pretty much know how we met our mothers.
Yeah.
Although we don't remember it.
No, that's true. Not sure I want to either. I'm guessing it was pretty traumatic for everyone involved.
That should have been your guess for trauma.
I'm actually looking forward to see what they're going to do next.
Yeah.
Because they left last season in a weird state. I want to know how they're getting out of this. If they recover well, then I'll keep watching. If they don't, then I'll drop it. But I'm at least going to watch the first few episodes to see how they get out of it.
Yeah, so basically House is followed up at 9 to 10 with Lie to Me, which is going in season 2.
Foxers, jerks that you just love to see bully people night.
Yeah, it was very popular its first season. A lot of people seem to like it. I, however,
Really?
don't.
I don't like the idea. I don't know.
Well, it's another gimmick cop.
Well, I don't know, for me, the problem is that, he's constantly reading facial expressions. And, I'm sitting there as a viewer watching, and I'm like, well, all of your little assistants and whatnot must be idiots not to have recognized what is going on with that person when you look at their face. Because it's not like very subtle changes in facial expression. At least not to me. They look pretty obvious. It's like, I'm starting to stroke my hands. It's like, what am I plotting now? I'm like,
it's not a good sign when your genius isn't smarter than you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, yes, you're basically a genius. I shouldn't be able to keep up with you. This is a problem.
About that criticism, though, the flip side is that if you write a show where the genius kind of comes up with things out of the ether that you can't figure out yourself, it feels like a Deus Ex Machina. And people disconnect from that because it's kind of like, well, you can just make up anything.
Well, it's been working for House. There aren't enough people watching House that actually know medicine to know what the hell he's talking about.
But medicine and human behavior are two different things. Medicine, I don't expect to know anything. Human behavior, not the same thing.
Exactly.
It just goes to show maybe they just shouldn't have done the show.
I'm sure everyone, to some degree, has observed their fellow human beings and have a sense of what might be going through their minds when they perform a certain gesture or, if they've got kind of like that tight sort of grimace-like smile. So the problem for me with that show is that, to me, it was always consistently far too obvious. And they didn't have that balance between, yes, I can follow along, but also still a sense of like, oh wow, I didn't notice that, and like that makes perfect sense, So for me, but better, people can tune in, it's popular.
Yeah, it's done well ratings-wise.
Yeah.
It's a great follow-up to House. Like, the whole idea of, like, Jerk Night at Fox, I mocked it, but it's actually a great idea. If you can stand House, you'll probably stand Tim Roth and Lie to Me.
We wrap up our Monday night with the CW. With 8 o'clock, One Tree Hill, which is on season 7, which I find unbelievable. I had no idea it managed to last this long. I thought it was over, actually. I thought it had already been cancelled.
I'll admit to everybody, One Tree Hill is a guilty pleasure of mine. I find it chatterific. It's Chad Michael Murray doing the same facial expression for every emotion he tries to convey. And oddly, it works. His father might be a killer. He looks at his father, raises one eyebrow, and grins a little bit. Somebody tells him she loves him. He looks at her, raises one eyebrow, and grins a little bit. And every time, I know what he's thinking, but it's the same facial expression.
You know what they should do? They should have Chad Michael Murray guest star on Lie to Me. Tim Roth beats his match.
No, but I love that show. I really do. It's so stupid, but over the top stupid. Like, they fight like serial rapists and killers on subways. Like, it's so wildly inappropriate for a teen soap opera. It's awesome. Everything you look for in daytime soaps but can't stand it is just too long. It's 1 hour a day. It's like I don't have time to watch it. You can find condensed in One Tree Hill.
Isn't that 1 hour? Oh, a day.
Yeah,
Right. Okay,
this
so
is
this
only
is a
once
week.
Yeah.
Now that we've finished up Dimitri's love affair with One Tree Hill, we'll move on to the 9 o'clock slot on CW, which is Gossip Girl.
Yeah, it's teen night at the CW.
Isn't every night teen night at the CW?
Well, WB I would have agreed, but now
Oh,
they mix with
CW,
UPN to
yeah.
do CW. Sometimes it's African American night.
Yeah,
Although actually,
not
they
this season.
yeah, they kind of completely squashed that whole demographic from their schedule. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Presumably, they realized that African Americans do have taste after all and worth watching. Yeah, Gossip Girl, Blake Lively. I can't get into that show to save my life. I think it's pretentious.
Yeah.
I think it keeps trying to be clever and it annoys the crap out of me.
Yeah, I second that.
Never watched it, never will.
Doesn't bode well for the CW, I gotta say.
To continue with your sports analogy, they would draft first pick every year.
Alright, so I guess that concludes the grid, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, so, according to you, Chasm, giving PLV some time to think, which network's gonna take it home for Monday?
You know, I am inclined to CBS on Monday night simply because, it's your first day back to work. You're probably feeling a little bummed out because you got the whole week stretched out ahead of you. So comedy is probably the way to go, and then wrap it up with a little bit of faux drama at the end with CSI.
How about you, Bill?
Well, I really don't like any of the comedy shows on CBS, so I'll be going with Fox, because I'm assuming people might actually be a bit like me.
I would hope so. I was going more back.
Definitely not ABC, because I'm hoping Dancing with the Stars will go down in flames.
It will go down flaming at the very least. I'm actually with Chasm on this one. I think CBS is going to take it home. Light of Me is on its sophomore year, and usually sophomore shows, they don't do super well. That's what blah mean.
Tim Roth could have told you that.
Might as well explain this in detail. The sophomore year for television show is the make or break year. The first season usually has a strong concept, a strong story arc, because, it's their first season, the writers know what they're doing. And the second year is the year where they go like, oh, we gotta stretch this baby out and see if we can make a viable show out of it. And that's when audience start going like, yeah, I don't know why I like this in the first season. So a show that survives its second season is usually going to make it all the way to syndication, usually around the fifth season. Otherwise, they just get cancelled in the second one. And House, I think, is a little bit tired, as I mentioned before. So, yeah, I'm going with CBS because I think How I Met Your Mother, even though it's on its fifth season, is actually gaining momentum, not losing any.
Mm-hmm.
And Big Bang Theory is a nice capper.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go with whatever I PVR'd on Sunday.
No, it's not like what you would watch. Yeah, actually, that leads to a really good question that I should have asked before. Like, what are you going to watch on Monday?
Honestly, I think that's it. I think I'm going to watch House, Castle, and whatever I have recorded.
How about you, Gazin?
Actually, it's probably very similar. I'd probably start with House, end up with Castle, and then I'll fill in my time in between, maybe with a movie or something, I don't know.
Or do something other than watch TV.
Exactly, that's right. I might actually do some work or something.
Yeah.
Don't get away from the theme of this episode. Oh, yeah. Even though I said I like One Tree Hill, I don't actually watch it regularly. I am going to check out the first few episodes of House, but it's kind of like in quarantine.
Yeah.
On probation.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on probation, that's the right term. But it's not medical.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
But it
but
didn't
quarantine
really make-
means you're not watching it for a fixed period until it's proven itself.
No, it's just I'm not letting myself get emotionally invested.
Ah,
That's
okay.
how I mean
That's
it.
kind
Yeah.
of cool. That was
It's on Death Watch.
House is on Death Watch. Not so much on Death Watch as it's already dead. I am going to watch the train wreck that is Heroes until the end.
Are you serious?
I want to see the disaster. It really is like watching a train wreck. Yeah, Castle, like everybody else. I think that's the big recommendation from us for Monday's Castle.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Alright, we're not going to do an EB Factory. We're going to do one on Friday. So tune in tomorrow for the Tuesday grid, which I think is more interesting. But we'll find out then. Bye.